Think so.
It was
At 2?
delayed. Yeah.
Again?
2 o'clock. You got it.
Oh, I've seen him wreck on the starting lap, man. Yeah.
Okay, we're live. All right. Welcome, everybody, to our Board of County Commissioners Workshop for February 19, 2024. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I guess, Miss Director Locke, if you would like to come forward. We're going to talk about our transportation permitting for our CIP program.
Correct. And you all got all the documents, right? Okay.
Yes.
So we'll just review them. The first document, I'm not sure, I think I'm going to go in the right order here. So application just goes over the actual, and the difference this year is it's a different vehicle than last year. So we went through the inspection and everything all over again. So the vehicle permit, this is the application for the secure transportation, has all the details of the vehicle and the VIN and everything else on page 2. It also has the copy of the current registration for the vehicle, the insurance card for the vehicle. Then we have the secure transportation certification of motor vehicle mechanical evaluation that Shane Higman did from Montezuma County Shop. Everything was in order there. You have 2 rosters of staff. One is from Access Health System, and the other is from Cortez Fire Protection District. So there are more people this year because there is 2 teams currently. Then we have the vehicle inspection report. I went over and went through the vehicle with Charlie and, I cannot remember the gentleman's name from Cortez Fire. Very nice man. Brant. We went over it together. Everything was in ship shape, and then I had Laurel go over this with me. So Laurel has signed this as the licensing coordinator this time rather than me, because last year we had Jim Spratlin, the emergency manager, do this work, and then I was the coordinator, so just so that we've got 2 eyes on all this out of our department, okay? And then the last is the permit. We only need to do a permit, not a license, because the license is good for 3 years, which was a $400 fee. That was a one-time thing. Now this is just the permit, which gets done yearly, and that's a $100 fee. And Phaedra is in the process right now of processing that $100 to us. So, any questions?
Does Shane make any mention of problems with working on a Mercedes as opposed to anything else?
He didn't say a word. I sent him the document. He completed it like lickety-split. No comments about it. I don't think there's been...
Mercedes is pretty common anymore,
Yeah.
as far as, I think it's just the motor. It's a Ford van. It's a transit van.
Right, it is.
Because this is the new one.
This is the new one.
unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's still
No, it says,
the Mercedes. Or maybe it is then
It's
this
a
switched to
Mercedes
the Mercedes,
Sprinter. Yeah, it's a Mercedes. The make is a Mercedes 2023 Sprinter. I think it's a
Yeah.
Mercedes
So
engine.
The Mercedes are not uncommon.
Yeah. I mean, they hold up, but it's, sometimes there's a difference in a shop working on something like that.
He didn't mention that.
Okay.
The CIP team is thrilled because I do believe they got stuck several times last winter. Of course, it was a worse winter than this winter's been, but they're very thrilled with the way it manages and the way it drives, and they haven't had any issues out in the field with it. So, any other questions?
No, but I have a comment.
Okay.
So,
Pertaining to this process?
no, this is just that's why I'm looking over to my right.
Uh-oh.
So
I
maybe
should
that's
get-
You didn't
another.
catch that, huh? You didn't
Yeah,
catch
oh, yeah,
before I
well,
looked? It's a comment. It's
I
not a,
mean-
it's just, okay, never
Whatever you
mind.
want to do.
It's probably another topic besides the
It
actual
absolutely
permitting
is another
of
topic,
the
so I will-
CIP vehicle.
I don't know if you caught me looking to my right.
Oh, yeah, it's probably the same thing that Ian and I have had discussions about too, so,
So I'll,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Fair enough, I
so
have nothing
tomorrow, you guys will make a decision on approving this, sign it, and then Kim can keep the original permit
Yep.
if she can just send us a copy, so we have it for the file. Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Okay, Mr. Englehart, you are next. We're going to talk about a tractor replacement.
Oh, how are you guys?
Good.
We're great. How are you today?
So remember last year we were talking about upgrading some trucks, and so we did put it in our 2024 budget this year under our capital outlay to go out and reach out and see what's out there for trucks. So this is a real pretty example of kind of what we're shopping for. Not this particular truck, but something close to it. Not all the chrome and all that, but it looks like this. It is a Western Star that we've got quotes for. Next sheet, yeah, that sheet there. We did send out this for an invitation to bid to Peterbilt and Kenworth International and Western Star. So they all bid on the same thing, same horsepower, different engines on each truck sometimes, but automatic shift transmissions, not 18-speed or hand manual shifting. Fuel tanks same. And the funny thing about trucks is all the chassis, wheels, bearings, rear ends, they're all the same. It just depends on what color cab you put on it to get to that price. So we did reach out and we did go get quotes from that next sheet, please. Peterbilt, Kenworth, and Western Star. You see the pricing there. They're all about 25 to 30,000 more or more than what we're looking at here. So we're looking at the Western Star to purchase that truck rather than a Peterbilt or a Kenworth. We've had good luck with the ones we bought in the past few years. Been very good trucks to us. When doing this, we will sell one of our old 10-wheelers. We've got one out there that's old and ready to go, so that'll go to a public auction, a dump truck. The current dump truck, the current international transport truck we're using now to run our low boys or even a spare belly dump, we'll take that truck and make it into a dump truck. We've got a bed to put on, or a box to put on it, make it into a dump truck, and then we'll take one of these Pete's out of our lineup and move it over to our transport truck. That'll be a spare for low boys or belly dump or whatever. So in the big picture, we do drop a truck out of our system. The Pete that's coming over, we want to switch. It is a 2004 model, and it's got 500,000 miles on it, so it's time to move it out of the gravel hauling business. That'll then give us 8 transport belly dumps, 8 10-wheelers, 7 water trucks. And my goal would be somewhere down the next year or so to get one more water truck and get evened up on those, and that helps too. So, but right now we're in pretty good shape. So we do have $300,000 in our capital outlay budget this year for a truck, so I think we're doing pretty good to get in there about half of that, sitting right there. That gives us some room to hopefully this spring find another plow truck for Cortez area, one of them 4-wheel drive ones, the sand spreader in the back. So what do you got?
I mean, I looked at this price and I was like, damn, I wish I could get that price for me, but,
Actually, I think you can. You know, we used to get government pricing in them, and it's not very good no more. So
No.
you
Well,
might get closer
the,
than you
the
think.
difference is you don't have to pay FET and I do.
Yeah, that's true.
So there's another 12% plus the taxes, there's 20%. So
Yeah, that is
yeah,
true.
that price grows
Yeah.
tremendously.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised, a year or two ago, we were getting government pricing on a lot of things, and we don't get it on trucks right now. So, other than that, options, or that, what you just said there, that's true.
So that's actually that's a very reasonable price. And these, obviously because I have some Western Stars also, that DD16 is an incredible motor. I think you would agree. And that 12-speed auto shift, you know what? Even Travis could drive it and never miss a gear. So
Yeah, you could have picked on me just as easy.
Okay, Rob could drive it and never miss a gear.
With one hand,
They're-
yeah.
They're pretty, just the way they're made anymore, they're pretty incredible.
And David, what's his last name? At least you get Salesman. You know him from Western Star up there. David, he said that
Oh.
other counties are buying these 12 speeds, hot off the plate. Boy, they want them. They don't need them lower gears to do what heavy transport's doing, so why have them? And it's a good transmission, so.
Yeah, no, they're, and these, I didn't see the transmission, was it Eaton Fuller? I guess, Rob, I know the other ones were Eaton's, but
No.
This is a Detroit.
it's a Detroit.
They
So
went
it's
to,
strictly just to the Detroit.
they went to their own transmission.
Yeah.
They did switch away from those Eatons, but this is a Detroit 12-speed auto shift, and having tremendous success with it, so.
Yeah.
Or so they say.
Anyway, I was just looking at what we had put in there, and I'll find that here in a little bit, but I don't have any other questions.
No, it's like, you know, in the fire service years back, we went to automatic transmissions because nobody knew how to drive a stick shift.
Well, Shane and I were talking about it, you know, they are a little more expensive to buy, but what do you save in the long run? And
Yeah.
if you start putting a cost against 18-speed clutch shift, you start looking at rear ends, drive lines, U-joints, the things that cause a lot of stress by being in the wrong gear at the wrong time. And this seems to assure us through other sales and other departments we're talking to and other businesses that they've seen less of that. We particularly haven't seen it too much in ours, but we're really getting into these automatics the last couple of years. We don't have a lot of history there to tell us those repair savings yet, but we're working on it. We're working towards that goal to see how much we save. But, you know, we've got some good drivers, and they take care of their trucks, and so that helps too. But you get a young driver or an inexperienced driver, and you jump in an automatic, just like you said, it's like getting your pickup, put it in gear and go, you know, so makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of difference too. One of the things that I've read is that it's employee wear at the end of the day, or
Yeah.
fatigue, not wear, fatigue.
Fatigue.
It makes a lot of difference.
I've had comments on that. The
You're not
guys come in
shifting
and they
all
go, I didn't think I'd want it. Now that they got it, they won't give it up. They like getting out at the end of the day and not being wore out and their leg not hurting, their back not hurting. And it makes a big difference. So,
So this would be, and these are not full automatics too. These are 12-speed auto shifts, and the other ones that we have are auto shifts also. So they're
yes.
not, the ECMs talk to each other to
Right.
shift the transmission. It's not like the Allison, like we used to drive, the Allison World transmissions. Those
Yeah.
are actually automatics. So there is just a little bit of difference
Yeah, one
as
of the
far as
things
the
that,
auto shift.
the other thing that David told us is.
David Caldwell.
Yeah, Caldwell, Dave. On the 18 auto shift, a lot of times these trucks will start out in them lower gears that you don't want, but you gotta go through the whole sequence, boom, boom, boom. Where these are starting in the low 7th, and that's just where you wanna be to haul these loads we haul.
Yeah.
And so you see a lot less shifting going on even with automatic, so. So, like I said, it won't be as pretty. It'll be white. Won't be any chrome. Maybe a little bit on the bumper. But other than that, that's it, same truck. New body style, a little different than the ones we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the only question is obviously it complies with all the procurement policies that we've done. As long as we, the dollars are there, as long as we follow the procurement policy, that's the only question I would have. And like I said, the price is, I can tell you from buying them, that's a pretty decent price.
Yeah, that is. We honestly thought we might be looking at a peak this year because there is no government pricing, but they're still just enough above the Western Star that, and the International wasn't any better. We didn't make any difference on it. So. Okay?
Okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Rob.
You
All
bet.
right, thanks, Rob.
See you.
All right, I don't see Lee Cloy in here. I don't see Brian Bartlett in here, but do you want to just pull those up if they,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if they would be here or not, but typically they usually come.
Yeah, I don't think they were going to come. They're just wanting to stay on the Lodgers Tax Committee for another term. This is Brian Bartlett's request.
And I know that these two gentlemen have been on this committee as long as I've been here, so, at least since 2019. I think they've both done
They've done a really good
really
job.
good
job.
job, so we can make that appointment tomorrow. And then does that, I guess my question, Travis, does that keep us full again with those appointments for the?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. All right. Do you guys have any questions on that, for those two?
No.
Okay. All right, next we have Miss Emily. Miss Emily's picture. Come on down.
I'm gonna go from the top down, Miss Emily, for your advisory.
Okay, so I guess the first order of business, which is why I'm here, is just to ask for approval. I guess that would be tomorrow, that you guys would approve that for. We have our advisory committee, so we had a meeting in December, and we talked about who would like to either re-up, who was up for, needing to re-up, and then we had some folks who were interested in becoming a new member. So both Taylor Oliver and Dawn Bain were willing to do new terms, and then Connie Clemenson, she's retired from BLM, and she completed the Master Gardener course last year. She's been really involved in extension. She also took the Colorado Master Irrigator class that we just put on, and so she is also interested in being on that board. So just to spread everyone out, I handed you guys out the proposed terms so Taylor and Connie would be on 3 more years, then Dawn Bain and Gail Alexander would have 2 more years, and then Abdel and David have 1 more year on their terms. So it's 3-year terms.
So would we I guess we need to reappoint all of these again?
I
But
guess,
if Gail and Don are still there until, or I'm sorry, Abdel and David are still there until 25, they're still current, right?
And so is
yeah.
Gail.
So everyone was current except for Dawn. Dawn and Taylor, they needed to re-up, but to spread people out, because we got a little wonky, then I was just proposing Dawn to have a 2-year term and Taylor to have a 3-year term, because Dawn has been on the board for so long. But I don't know if this is an Ian question, I guess. Do I need them all to have 3-year terms if they're new?
Well, so I think this is set forth in the bylaws, and I don't know what the terms are off the top of my head. I'd have to look at the bylaws.
Okay. I think it says 3-year term, so we could just put Don with the other 2 and say a 3-year term and have him expire in 27. So he said he was up for one more term, and then I forget. He's gonna be somewhere in his 80s, and then he said he might step down. So.
So would you look that up just to make sure that that's?
Yep, I can double check that
That's-
and send you guys an email so you know for tomorrow.
Yeah, because otherwise it makes sense to make sure that they're all staggered, kind of the
Okay.
way you have this proposed.
Okay.
But make sure it complies with their bylaws so that we're not
Yep. Okay.
overstepping anything.
Okay. And I could also clarify, as I was sitting there staring at this, like, that it would expire, say, December 31st, 2026 versus like January 1, 27. So I could more explicitly write that for you all.
Okay. So we'll look for an email tonight or tomorrow?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah, today. I'll get this done so you guys have that. But otherwise, we also have someone who works for School to Farm who's interested in participating, and so Tierney's excited about that. So we might bring her on later. I don't know if that's a problem, but she just to facilitate those collaborations between 4-H and School to Farm. So. But I don't have her letter, so this is what I have now. I think we have a full slate. We don't really need a whole lot more people, but we have some representation from some different parts of the county. So I appreciate everyone's participation on that committee.
Okay,
Okay, sound good?
You bet.
sounds good.
Okay, now do you want my department head update?
Sure.
Okay, so got numbers, maybe a repeat for some of you who were at the livestock meeting, but got some numbers from Tierney for 4-H. So she has 220 kids enrolled in 4-H and 52 volunteers, and she said that's the highest since 2015. And I know definitely the pandemic was hard for enrollment, but so that's really
What was it last year? Do you remember?
Ooh,
One,
ask me the hard questions. I don't know what it was last
180,
year.
190, somewhere in there?
It would probably, yeah, I think it was below 200.
Yeah.
Yeah, around there. Yeah, and I think Tierney does a really great job of sending out communications, making sure kids are on track with all those rules and regulations. So this year she's collaborating with the Fair Board, so they're doing a mandatory livestock training in April, just to make those rules clear and so that everyone is on the same page. She's been doing some tasting classes, and those have been, so it's like an introduction to 4-H, know what it is. And it's with things that might not be as known, like knitting. She's doing a cookie decorating class, so people are really excited about that one. People are volunteering to go and help, taste testers. Yeah.
Anybody doing anything with donuts?
Not that I know of. I'll put in a request. Yeah, kiddos and hot oil. I don't know about that one.
That.
And then she's working with Greg Felson in his new role as the Accessible Education Western Specialist, Western Region Specialist, to work with the kids in the school at Toyoak. And so they're going to help those kids make a project that then they could take to fair. Then Todd's been working on, we have some horticulture classes coming up, doing some native plant walks. The Master Gardener class is wrapping up. We've tripled our numbers. So last year we had 1 Master Gardener take the class, and this year we had 3.
All right.
So, we're working on that. And then this year we're going to do Master Gardener office hours. So starting in April, like April 15th to September 15th, have designated times people can come in and visit with Master Gardeners and Todd, get their horticulture or gardening questions answered. So I've been working on, some may argue too much programming, but we just wrapped up the Colorado Master Irrigator class, and Commissioner Copenhofer came and spoke at the last one. We had 29 people enrolled in that, which I was really pleased with. We had a goal of 25, and I got funding from the Lore Foundation to support that, to pay for speaker travel, and then food, supplies, and then we were able to give all of the participants who attended every single class a $500 stipend to help them, pay for their time being there as farmers and ranchers, and then also to implement some of their goals that they learned from the class. We have a pruning class that with Dolores County really heads up Gus Westerman, so that pruning class is on March 7th. That's $15 at the door. If you want more information, you can call our office or the Dolores office. And that's at the Research Center in Yellow Jacket. Working with the Good Food Collective and some local farmers and other extension folks, we had we called it the Southwest Wholesale Ag Gathering, and we were trying to connect growers and dining service directors because there's new state funding, and now that state funding is a little bit up in the air. They realized how expensive that is to have local foods in schools. So we might delay and host that another time. We also had some awful weather that morning, so we postponed that little portion of that workshop. But then we talked about distribution needs, like cold storage. So what do vegetable growers need? What do ranchers need if they're doing direct sales? we lost our food hub recently, so do people need a food hub? So we'll continue those conversations, but it was a way to kind of collect of like, what are the needs throughout our region, and how can we work together there's so many opportunities for funding to get those supplies and infrastructure that people need with funding opportunities. Okay, so now, Travis, I'm actually talking about the flyers that I have. So we have some workshops coming up. So this one is called Fewer. So this is just targeted at reducing rural suicide, especially in agricultural communities. And so that is on the 29th. We'll have dinner available and then a presentation. So just continuing to try to do outreach and reach out to folks who might want to access resources related to mental health and how we can all just look out for each other.
So, Emily,
Sure.
I've got a question, because this has always kind of intrigued me, and I looked up these statistics, quite a few years back, because it's so high. I mean, 3.5 times higher, more likely to die of suicide. I mean, is that something that we can just kind of pop in and listen to?
Oh,
or
yeah,
do
sure.
we have to?
You guys would be more than welcome. And I was just talking to Katie Maxwell at the health department last week, and she brought up, don't quote her because she wasn't looking at it, she was remembering statistics, but you guys all might know that like Montezuma County has a higher than the rest of the state's average suicide rate. I think if it was 100,000, say it was like 39 per 100,000, and then maybe like the state average was like 11 per 100,000, something like that. So it's high, and just trying to find ways that we can make sure if someone wants resources, because it can be harder in a rural area to find, resources and be there for families, so folks know what is available. So, but yeah, you guys would be more than welcome to come in and pop by and be a part of those discussions, because I know, the county health department is trying to address that in different ways, and so we'd welcome you there.
Okay.
Okay. So then on Tuesday and Thursday of this week, we have some webinars coming up. There's some ag extension agents like myself in the Western region. This kind of came out of COVID, of hosting webinars. And so we have 2 different webinars. We'll have weather updates, market updates, and irrigation strategies on Tuesday. And this is from 11:30 to 1. And then talking about some biosecurity, current diseases and outbreak issues with animals, emergency preparedness, and then influences on meat quality. So that will be on Thursday. So you can still RSVP for those. And if you can't watch it live, you can RSVP and you'll get the link, and then you'll get the recording later. So we have that going on. Then this has been a request coming out of the need for just livestock education, recognizing a vet shortage, in rural southwestern Colorado. And so folks just wanting to find ways that they could, learn a little bit more about how they could prevent some issues, but then just learning for folks who might be newer to owning livestock, just best care practices. So we have our very own Dr. Gerald Kopenhofer. So he's going to speak on Tuesday, and we have 49 people who have RSVP'd for that class.
Oh, nice.
So, and I
that's
have
at the community center also, yeah.
Yep, so that's at the Lewis Areola Community Center. Then for the livestock nutrition class, I think last I looked, I have like 31 people RSVP'd for that, and that's in Mancus, and Beth Lachelle is going to teach that. And then I have Dr. Ray Walk, so she's a vet at the CSU Diagnostic Clinic in Grand Junction, and she's going to come and kind of give like a general livestock care overview, talking about like preventative things, like how do you buy healthy animals, how do you know if they're sick, so how do you establish a vet relationship, and making plans, and just kind of knowing what's normal. So there's a bunch of Eventbrite links, and we have an Eventbrite page where folks can RSVP for that. And I got a small grant through the Western SARE. It's like an internal CSU grant. There's mini Western SARE grants. So this is all free, and we'll have have a few snacks for folks so they're not starving as they go after work. Then I think, is that the last thing that I gave you? Then I think I finished this after that. I sent that over on Wednesday. But then I have Libby Bigler. She's from the Colorado Beef Quality Assurance. She's their coordinator. She's based at CSU. And so I have a beef quality assurance class that's going to be on March 11th. And then we're going to have it at the new livestock auction barn. So people can walk through those facilities so there'll be a hands-on demonstration kind of component and then also just a classroom component. So I've had ranchers who have requested this, and this is just something that they get certified. It kind of talks about like proper injection sites, proper ways to handle animals just to reduce bruising and things that would have to be cut out and that would reduce profits, and just talks about best husbandry practices. Then that's something they can show buyers or show consumer that they're BQA certified. And this is also, it's a free training. Libby has funding to fund that program and through the beef checkoff. So that is on March 11th. So that's what we have going on now and gearing up for the growing season. But I guess can mention to Travis, I send out, I call it a newsletter, but I just send out email reminders. So I have a form that I'm going to share on social media, put on our website. I share it through MailChimp just as a way to have it kind of streamlined when I share things out. So if folks want to be added to that newsletter or my email list, then there's a way that they can sign up for that. So if folks want to be notified about these sorts of things, they can always just reach out to me and I'll add them on there. So.
I've had a request for your welding class that you do every now and then.
Yeah, we've been doing that twice a year. So that's another one that is going on right now, and another one that fills up. So we'll do that again in the fall probably.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. We've been doing that in the, like late winter and then in the fall, maybe about October. And so Rob, who teaches the class, the welding instructor at PCC, the first time we did it, we had like 20 people, and that just didn't allow enough like one-on-one time. And so we reduced it like 12 to 15 participants, and it's been filling up every single time. Some people come back just to continue
Where do you
learn.
do the class at?
It's at PCC, yeah.
At the PCC.
I mean, I don't know if you've been in the welding lab recently, but I mean, it's just a big warehouse room, and then they have individual bays where folks can practice welding. So it's a phenomenal resource, and it's so great that Rob's willing to do that. Yeah. That's been a super popular class. So we will just continue riding that wave until people don't want to register for it
I
anymore.
don't think you're going to run out of people anytime soon.
No, and the first time we offered it, we were like, let's opt $50, and we didn't cover all of our costs, so we've had to raise the price just to make sure we're covering our costs, and people are still able to sign up, fill that class. Yep. But, yeah, any questions? Any other requests? We got donuts and welding.
Yeah. Oh. Truck driving.
Oh, truck driving. I think that's out of my purview, but okay.
I caught something across face. Are you going to have at the fair, are they going to show cats?
Yes, they are. Well, okay, maybe Tierney has a cat project, which is so adorable, and she's having those kids. Tierney encouraged this project, and so now she's the leader of this project. And so she's taking these kids to the animal shelter, and they're going to teach them how to take care of cats, which I thought was just so adorable. So I believe they are trying to do a show there, but the kids would have to be enrolled and do the whole project to be able to do that. So we could sell tickets to watch the cat show.
That's what I was going.
That's
where I was going with this. Herding cats.
They're not. Yeah, never mind. We're not gonna say anything.
If you have a cat, and that's a great entry point for a younger kid to get into 4-H. So, I did remember. I have one other question for you guys, and because we're working with the Fair Board on the MOU, And so I didn't know who you all wanted to sign that from the county. Like all the commissioners?
Once we agree on it, it could be any or all of us.
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah,
it, Ian?
it should be at least one of the commissioners, because it's a MOU or an IGA.
Okay. Do you want all the commissioners
Just
or just
put-
one of
yeah.
them? Just you?
Yeah.
Just put all three of us on there.
Okay, okay. Okay. I think the Fair Board is good with it, so I think I sent that over to you, Ian, but I don't know if there's anything else with that we need to do, or if we're all ready to get signatures.
Yeah, I think it looked fine to me when you sent it over, so I'll
Okay.
look back and make
Okay.
sure, but yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, CSU is finally okay with it, so that seems to be the longest process, so thanks for working through that, but
Emily, one other question.
Sure.
Does CSU or extension have any resources for scholarships?
for like student scholarships?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, depending on what type of a student, yeah, CSU would potentially have some scholarships. There's also a lot of scholarships locally.
Yeah.
And so the 4-H, there's scholarships through them. And I know Onward actually houses a lot of student scholarships, like the conservation districts, they have scholarships. So the different livestock organizations, they have scholarships. So there are a lot of scholarships for kids. And I'm sure we could do better as a community to publicize those. But if anyone wanted to learn more or had questions about that, actually our Greg Felson is a great resource of helping kids, connect with those resources to make sure that they can access, what higher education they want to go into. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. There's a lot of organizations that have a hard time finding kids to apply for those. So, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of times, like the Livestock Association don't even get enough applications for as much money as they've raised to give out in fall scholarships every year. They've got
Yeah.
different years where they haven't even come close to giving out as much money as they're taking in, so that scholarship fund is built up. It's got quite a bit of money in it, so.
I know, like, the conservation districts, they've had issues because it's been, like, say, the Mancus that they've required, and don't totally quote me on this, but that, say, the kid is going into agriculture and from the Mancus Valley, well, then there's not always a kid who's doing that every year, so then I think they've discussed broadening those, stipulations. So I don't know if some of the livestock ones might be in that same category, but yeah, if anyone has a question of how to get their kid to, be able to afford going to CSU, can definitely call the office and we can connect them with folks to help them out.
Be a great resource.
Yeah, I'm going to tell Greg that a list of community scholarships would be super helpful, that we could, hand that out to prospective students. So, yeah.
All right.
Good.
Thank
Okay.
Are they actual going to school kids, homeschooled, church schooled? I mean, there's a lot of different schools anymore. Do you know if it has any basis?
Oh, well, I guess if they were going to like a university is
Yeah.
probably, I don't know of any scholarships for, say, like K through 12.
Well, we have homeschool kids in the area. We have kids that go to charter schools that are of graduating age. I didn't know if that was a requirement just to be in, lack of a better term, regular school.
Oh, I don't think so. As long as you're, actually by the state of Colorado recognizes you as graduating from high school, then I would think you would be eligible to apply for a lot of those scholarships.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All
Any
right.
other
I'll
questions?
shut up now.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Emily.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Have a good day. All right, now we have our discussion on our IGA with our dispatch agreement. I guess, Ian, I'll let you start with this one because obviously I'm sure you've looked this one over, and then Commissioner Lindsay, if you have anything else to add, since this is kind of,
Yeah, I didn't see.
this is the same agreement that we circulated back at the end of last year. Nothing's been changed, and the city just reached out to see where we were at with it. They had emailed me and said that they would get back to me. Their attorney had emailed me that, and then we hadn't heard, and then they circled back and asked where we were. So this is the exact same thing that I sent you out. I've been through it. I've looked at it. You know, you guys had it before, so
Yeah.
I don't have any issues with it at this point. I think it's a pretty good job. I think it's a pretty good document.
I think so.
Okay, so everything that we had originally started with were addressed anyway, I think, and,
Yeah.
okay. Commissioner, do you have anything to add to that?
No,
Okay.
it looks-
All right, well, it only took a little while to get that done.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be here longer than that.
All right, guys, well, we've come to the end of, our meeting. We are adjourned. 12:10, thanks.
All right.